Hey, best friends.
Welcome to another episode of the Bestie Advice, where we discuss all things relationships.
Hey, besties. Welcome to another edition of the Bestie Advice podcast. I am your host, Irene Abrams, and I'm here with my bestie, Lady Kiran Hayes. Hey, Kiran.
Hey, besties out there.
We are so excited about this particular podcast because we are well into Women's History Month, and the besties had to acknowledge the accomplishments of women everywhere.
Yes.
So let me give you a little bit of history about Women's History Month. Women's History Month is observed annually in March. It's just to recognize the contributions and achievements of women throughout history. It is observed in the month of March in all the countries in Canada, Australia, the United Kingdom, the United States, and every year it's a different theme. This year, the theme is around diversity, inclusion, and so we're going to talk to a quintessential Renaissance woman today. I am so excited about our guest, Pastor Lady Andria Hudson. I am so excited, and I always mispronounce your name. I'm going to ask you to forgive me if I do. I'm going to read a little bit of her bio, and we're going to jump right into the conversation. Pastor Andria Hudson is an acclaimed speaker who has risen to national and international prominence by delivering a message of hope, transformation for all people. As an authoritative and motivating voice, Andria Hudson's passion is to empower mankind to live without regrets and discover their inherent purpose. Through many challenges, she has developed an unwavering faith and steadfast commitment to personal development and growth. She is a woman that functions in many capacities. Pastor Hudson is the embodiment of a true Renaissance woman. Her passion is unmatched, her faith is unparalleled, and her strength is unlimited. Her determination is unmovable. She is currently a resident of Illinois and the proud wife of Archbishop William Hudson III, senior pastor of the Powerhouse Chicago. Pastor Hudson serves as the assistant pastor alongside her husband, teaching, preaching, and training pastors and their spouses throughout the nations. Yes. Welcome, Lady Pastor Andria Hudson. Welcome.
Oh, wow. Thank you for such a gracious introduction. Hello, besties out there. It is great to be with you guys, especially during the month of March, which is Women's History Month.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you again, Lady Hudson, for coming on to our podcast. It really is an honor to have you on here.
Yes.
So we are going to jump right on in. Today we are talking about the Renaissance woman and that woman being able to balance it all. And there are many definitions out there concerning the Renaissance woman, but I just want to just kind of touch on just a few, that she is multi-talented. She is multifaceted. She is a lifelong learner. She is a leader, a thinker, a creator. She creates her own path and she follows her own dreams with the help of God and God's leading and no one else. But I want to hear from you, Lady Hudson. You are an individual, you are a great woman, and you are a Renaissance woman. But I want to know, as far as what really is your definition of a Renaissance woman? Oh, that's good. That's so good. There's so many layers to it. So when we think about the term Renaissance, we must go to the origin of it. And a Renaissance movement actually started. It was a transitional movement that happened in the late, I believe, 14th century in Italy. And it was a transitional movement between the medieval and modern times. It included arts and science and literature. It included fashion. And so when we think about the word Renaissance, it really means high artistic cultural development. And so when we translate that even into America, and we have
named certain periods of time the Renaissance movement, it was because there was a collision of someone's creativity. It was a collision of thoughts. It was a collision of literature, novels, poetry, music, fashion, that someone or a group of individuals, men and women, that decided that we're going to be our best versions of ourselves. We're going to take things to the next level. So when we think about a Renaissance woman, as it pertains even to the origins of what a Renaissance movement is, I believe a Renaissance woman is a woman who's not afraid to embrace her creativity.
That's good.
She's not afraid to embrace the creator in her, because we all have been created from the dust of the ground by the master creator, God himself. And so a woman who really identifies with who the creator is, and knowing that she has the creator living on the inside of her, she is willing to embrace all of her creativity. She's not a woman that will be put into a box. She is willing to enlarge her mindset. She's willing to go the extra mile. She's willing to think above and beyond, not just as, it pertains to womanhood, but just as it pertains to life, knowing there's always more. And it's okay to embrace your creativity.
I really like that. I have a question around being a Renaissance woman, but as far as Women History Month, why do you think it's important for us to pause to just acknowledge the contributions that women has had to society in business, in the arts, in government, all of these different mountains, in entertainment, this is when we really acknowledge all the things that women have done. Like, why do you think this is so important?
Whomever decided this, whomever decided to designate a month to the advancement and accomplishments of women, I must say bravo. Bravo. Because we have been taught as women for centuries that this is a man's world.
Oh, yeah.
And we have been victimized by that ideology. We've been victimized mentally, emotionally. We've been victimized physically, sexually. We've been victimized in some of the worst ways because it has been repeatedly told to us that this is a man's world. But I think that it is imperative that as women, we understand who we are in the earth and what we possess as women. We're not just our body parts.
Absolutely.
We are our minds. We are, as I stated before, our creativity. We're influencers. We're thinkers. We're planners. We're women of strategy. Even when you look through history, there was always a woman who had a strategy.
Yes.
Always a woman. She may not have been recognized.
Some
of these women names are unknown, but there was always a woman around thinking and planning and strategizing and executing and grabbing the horns and running through and rescuing and doing everything. There's always, you can never get rid of us. It's impossible.
Yes.
We are the givers of life and the incubators of life.
Yes.
And I think that the month of March, and it just shouldn't be just not 1 month, but we're grateful that someone had the light bulb that says, hey, let's celebrate women this month.
Right.
And why not? It should be, we should be celebrated every day of the year.
Yes.
But I think it's also important to teach our children, especially our daughters, that it's okay to celebrate femininity. It's okay to celebrate who you are as a girl, as a woman. You stand on the shoulders of women that have paved the way in so many different aspects. In every mountain of influence, there have been women that dared to dream and dared to execute. And that's why we celebrate Women's History Month in the month of March.
That's good. That's good. Look, to every woman out there, all of our besties out there that's watching, we want to say we honor you. We honor you on today for your how you impact others, how you inspire others. You wear many, 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 many hats.
Mhm.
And if anyone else does not tell you, we want to tell you that we honor you. You are a
Yes.
great woman. You are an awesome woman. And we honor you on today. But I want to go back to something that you said earlier, Lady Hudson, where you said the Renaissance woman is willing to embrace all of her creativity. So a lot of us, we do have a lot of giftings, a lot of talents, and we wear a lot of hats, mothers, business owners. You may be in ministry, you work in a job, you're an entrepreneur, you're an author, you're a creator, you wear many hats. So how do you balance like all of that? How are you able to go in and balance that? Because you want to do everything. You want to do every single thing that God has created you to do. Sometimes it get hard and it's like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna put all that to the side. I'm gonna do this one thing right here. You said you want me to do this, Lord. I'm gonna do this. Okay. So how are you able to balance it all?
So it is, I get that question a lot.
Uh-huh.
And I honestly, I don't, I'm one that believes that there is no perfect balance.
Yeah.
Yes.
There isn't. I mean, even when we look at the makeup of our body, there's one side that's a little more elevated than the other side, and one foot that's a little longer than the other one.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's just the way it is. However, imbalance can sometimes create balance.
Yeah.
Even when you look at our body, the way God, He did not have everything perfectly measured.
Yes.
So even though my left arm may be a little shorter than my right arm, if it were longer, it would probably make me off balance. But the imbalance of even my molecular structure and my physical anatomy creates a balance. And so sometimes imbalance in our lives can actually work for our good.
That's good.
Because nothing is perfectly balanced.
Yes.
So because as women, God created us to be so multifaceted. He created us to be so detail oriented, and we can do so many things at the same time. We can be brushing our children's hair while on the phone, ordering something offline, chastising another child, while also stirring the pot of grits. It just happens to be that way. We have all of these imaginary octopus arms and legs that we're able to just do it. But I am learning as I grow, not only in God, but as I grow as a woman, that some things take more time and some things take more focus. And so, especially when you're talking about tapping into your creativity, when you're talking about tapping into your gifts and talents, some things are for a certain season for you to master. I am one that is very strict about mastering because we are individuals that have so much on the inside of us. Sometimes we neglect because we want to do it all, but we neglect to master something. And so we must be intentional as women, mastering something. Now, there are non-negotiables. Being a wife is a non-negotiable.
Right.
Okay. You can't turn in your marriage certificate. That's another conversation for another podcast.
Right.
Mothering is a non-negotiable. Okay. So those are things that just will happen, will be for the rest of your life. Okay. It is what it is. But as far as, launching a business, as far as, figuring out how to take my creativity and make it profitable. How do I take my creativity and bless someone else with it, better someone else's life with it? It's time to master. So some things that God will instruct you to do, He will instruct you to master for a season. It may not be for the duration of your entire life, but it may just be for a season. And that's what you focus on for that season, in addition to juggling and handling all of your non-negotiables.
Yes.
Okay,
I
so
love that.
I'm a wife. I'm a wife of almost 20 years. It'll be 20 years in August that my husband and I have been married. I love being married.
Yeah.
I love my husband. It is one of the greatest joys in my life. That's a
Yes.
non-negotiable for me. So even
Yes.
with business and even with podcasts,
Yeah.
and things that I have to do as an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, being a wife is my non-negotiable. So if
Yes.
anything else fails, I know I can come home, and I can come home to a home filled with peace that I created.
Yeah.
I
That's
love
good.
I
that.
took the time to create my home. And that's a
Yes.
non-negotiable for me. There's no business, no engagement, no book sale, no book tour, or whatever I'm focusing on for that season that will ever outweigh or outride my non-negotiable of being a wife. And
That's
so I think
good.
sometimes as women, we get caught up in being the Renaissance woman that we neglect our non-negotiables. We
Yes.
neglect those
Yes.
things that we have said yes to forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
At the sake of trying to build our creativity and trying to build our talents. But I'm a witness that, when you have the right heart and the right mentality, God will give you the instructions and the strategies on how to juggle everything so that nothing is
Yes.
missing and nothing is lacking.
That's
That is
good.
that's amazing. I love that. I have to know. I have to know. Where do you find inspiration?
Oh, my, that's a great question. Um, so I've been very blessed to come from an amazing home. My mom and dad have been married for 47 years of marriage.
Wow.
They are also in ministry as pastors and apostles, and they've been serial entrepreneurs ever since I was a little girl. So, I've watched them own businesses. I've watched them run a school. I've watched them, real estate properties and clothing lines and you name it, they've done it. And so I watched how they tapped in to their gifts and talents. But as children, and it was 7 of us, I'm the oldest of 7 children. There was never a time that they were not there for us. If we had
That's
a
good.
basketball game, if we had a volleyball game, they never told us no just because they were doing so much. So if we told them we wanted to fly to the moon, you better believe Kurt and Linda Stennis was going to try to get a rocket ship, and
I
they were going
love,
to try to get us to the moon.
yeah.
And even though
Yes.
we were ministry kids, we were never put in a position where they had to choose family over ministry.
Mhm.
They made sure that we were balanced children, that we can still be in church, but also have a life outside of church.
Mhm.
And so that's
Yes.
been one of the driving forces of my inspiration, because I saw it growing up.
Yeah.
I saw what a healthy balance looked like. Not perfect.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as perfect balance, but there is a
Yes.
such thing as healthy balance. And
Yes.
communication is really key. I failed
Yes.
to mention that earlier. Especially as a woman, we need to be better communicators. So we need to communicate to those that we are in covenant with, our families, our children, business partners, and let them know, hey, this is a season that I'm focusing on my degree.
Mhm.
So I need everybody on my team. I
Yeah.
need everybody helping mommy. I need everybody helping wifey. I'm going back to school. I want to do this. This is the season where I'm focusing on finishing my education, and I need everybody on board.
That's good.
Sometimes when we don't communicate, and we're just out here trying to do this and trying to do that, and nobody knows what we're doing. And so there can be a breakdown, a breakdown in relationships and a breakdown in energy and commitment, communication. And so when it was time for my mom and dad to do some shifts with ministry and business, they always came to us as children, and they would tell us, okay, mommy's getting ready to go back to school. So, my father, I'm going to be the one that's taking you to school, picking you
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
cooking your breakfast,
Yeah.
all of that. It was never like, where's mommy? Communication.
Yes.
Communication is very key to a healthy balance.
That's good. That's good. And I love the fact is that you had your mom and your dad there as your role model,
Yes.
examples right there in front of your face. Um, Many people do not have those examples. They don't have the mom and the dad that they can actually say, I look up to them. Yes, it's mama, it's daddy. Uh-huh. But to say I look up to them for specific things, especially when it comes to business and ministry. If they've never been in ministry, it's like, well, I can't turn to my mom and daddy because they really don't know. So how important is it to find a mentor, or a group of mentors that can actually help you, that can kind of lead you and guide you, whether it's in ministry or in business, or how to be a mama? Because some people, I don't know how to be a mama. So I need somebody to help me and show me how to be a mother. So how important is that to have someone to glean upon?
It is so essential.
Yes.
It's a matter of life and death as
That's
it pertains
good.
to your purpose.
I love
Your
that.
purpose will live and have longevity
Yes.
by who you're associated with.
Yes.
So I have several mentors in my life. As I stated, my greatest inspiration have come from my parents.
Yes.
But over the years, I have gleaned from women and men, as it pertains to business, entrepreneurship, ministry,
Yes.
having those women in my life, other than my mom, that I can look to for what a healthy marriage should look like. Again, there's no such thing as perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Yes.
But when it's exemplified and it's authentic, it's real, and it is something that you can see and aspire to, it grows something on the inside of you. It sharpens you. The word of God says that iron sharpens iron. And so when you're able to glean from someone that has done it, has mastered it, or is mastering it, it grows something on the inside of you. It sharpens something on the inside of you. And also, one of the greatest things about mentorship is that it gives you hope.
Yeah.
Most individuals don't realize the power of mentorship. The power of mentorship and coaching gives somebody hope.
Yeah.
You can say, if they did it or are doing it, I can do it too.
Yes.
There's, and when we look throughout history, and even when we go to the Bible, there was, mentorship exemplified in so many different ways. You had, I mean, it's not one of the best examples, but it is an example. You had Saul and David.
Yeah.
Saul and David. Saul went off the deep end, but he was he was okay in the beginning. You had Jesus and his 12 disciples. That's one of the greatest examples of mentorship, spending time pouring into a group of men that after Jesus left, those group of men changed the world. The word of God says they turned the world upside down. And that was through the power of mentorship, pouring, gleaning. Mentorship is not always, someone telling you your greatest traits and what you do so great. Mentorship is also, saying, hey, these are some growing edges that you need to work on. Your attitude, your perception. This is what you have to do. This is what you should not do. That's all a part of mentorship as well, because it's really about growth. It's really about growth as a leader, growth as a woman, growth as an individual. And so I just really feel that, for someone that's listening, that if you are seeking a mentor, keep seeking. Don't give up. Don't give up. If that is a desire of yours, because you want to grow as a woman, you want to grow in womanhood, you want to grow as a wife, as a mother, keep seeking, and God is going to connect you to the right person.
Yeah, I believe that.
I believe it too. I have several mentors, and what you said was so key. And one of the mentors I have, they're very hard on me, and they discipline me. They're like, okay, that's your flesh, Irene, and so you really do have to seek God, because it's like you're giving them access into your life and access to, you vent to them and give them a lot of you, and you trust that they're going to give you the best advice. And like you said, you aspire to where they are. So I definitely have women in my life like that, but they definitely offer discipline.
Yes. Yes.
And I do have something I wanted you to talk about, as we're discussing and celebrating Women's History Month. Lady Hudson, we just can't sit here and not ignore the amazing woman you are. You truly are a Renaissance woman. You lead women across the globe. Women look up to you, they admire you. Kiran is my best friend for life, but I always tell her Lady Hudson is my best friend in my head. And
She does.
We are, and we are.
Because I see how I feel like we have a lot of the same personality traits. And I'm one of those go-getters, and I dream big, and I'm one of those women, like, you cannot put me in a box. And so, and I love empowering and inspiring other women, but you do that on such a global platform. You and the man of God, I have to say, I have to include your husband. You guys inspire so many people. And when I look at all the hats that you wear, Kiran and I sat down and we talked about you being, you launched this magazine, you have your own ministry, you're a pastor with your husband, you're a playwright. I mean, you're this mentor to all these women.
Yes.
How do you approach each assignment? I mean, if you can just provide us with tips and tools to do some of the things that you do, because you do it gracefully and elegantly. You're like so classy with it. How do you approach each assignment? If you could just help us.
Please.
Okay. All right. How much time we have left? So this has all been through trial and error. So I have been in a full-time entrepreneur now for 10 years. This year, 2024, I celebrate 10 years of my company, Ash Enterprises. And so a lot of what I have and what God has graced me to do, a lot of it was just through trial and error, just trying to figure myself out, trying to find the balance and all of that over the course of these 10 years. And so one of the things that God has given me is I have finally narrowed down what I'm called to do. Okay, so I narrowed it down, and I have taken what I do and what I know God has called me to do and will do in the future, and I put them in like these categories. Okay, and so that helps keep me focused. What I don't allow to happen, and I have been guilty of it before, in these course of 10 years, is I don't allow pressure of people to get me out of sync with what I know that I'm called to do. So for example, people will tell me, oh, since you have this, you should be doing that. I could see you doing that, Hudson. You be real good at that. And it sounds amazing. It sounds wonderful. But if it does not fit in the categories that God has told me that this is what I should be doing, I'm not going to put that unusual amount of pressure on myself, especially if God didn't speak it to me.
Yes.
It's really easy to get caught up. It really is. And unfortunately, a lot of creatives and a lot of influencers and entrepreneurs, because someone tells them, oh, you should be doing that. I can see you doing that. And then they're like, oh yeah, I should. But did God call you to do it?
Right.
Did he specifically say you should be launching this? Then don't put that type of pressure upon yourself. Burnout comes from when you're not called to do something. When you're doing something you have not been called to do. That's when burnout starts happening. And I never burn out. I may get tired physically, and I know now, because I'm in my 40s now, I'm in my mid 40s.
I understand.
And so life is a lot different. Life is a lot different than it was 10 years ago. Body has changed, chemical imbalances and all of that stuff, the change of life. And so I understand that I need more rest. Like 10 years ago, I was up at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, writing and doing all this stuff because I had a burst of energy and creativity. That don't happen anymore. I go to bed, and I go to bed for real. It's very rare that you're going to find me up past 12.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm texting people all times throughout the night. Hey, let's do this and make sure this is on the calendar. That does not happen anymore.
Yeah.
You learn and you grow and you evolve. But I never get burnt out. I never get burned out because I know that I'm in my purpose and I finally figured it out. It's a science to me. So each day, what I'm doing is according to what I have been called to do. So one umbrella is the life coaching. So this is something that I love to do. I love mentoring. I love life coaching. God has given me such an amazing grace that comes from Him for that area. And I love to see people's lives change. So life coaching will never stop. I told my husband a few weeks ago, I said, I don't care what I'm doing in the world. If I'm in Paris filming a movie, I will never stop life coaching. I just love it. I love to see people helped. I love to see them.
Yeah.
That's one division. And then the other division is entertainment. So I have been doing stage productions since I was 10 years old. I've been writing plays since I was 9. That is one of my first passions. I'll never stop doing that. I plan to take it to the next level and do now movies and documentaries and all of that. That's in the entertainment division. And then, of course, is ministry. And so ministry is being the pastor's wife. Ministry is being the bishop's wife. Ministry is also ministering to pastors' wives and women in ministry, those that are struggling with their call. Ministry is also preaching, which is something that I never thought I would do, but God just happened to do, that is also a part of ministry. And then, of course, is the real business side. So that is authoring books and manuals and curriculums, also speaking, not preaching, but speaking, podcasts, and coming into companies and helping them with their leadership tiers. All that is on the business side of it. And these are my divisions, and everything that I do falls in these divisions.
That's good.
Whether it be products, t-shirts at the time, candles, all of that is a part of the business, the servicing side, entertainment, theater, productions, acting, behind the camera, in front of the camera, documentaries, filmmaking, all of that's in the entertainment division, life coaching, consulting, ministry, everything has its own leg. And now that is what I'm focused on, and that's it.
That's it.
But she gave all these verticals. That's a lot.
Exactly.
But it doesn't seem a lot. I know.
Yeah.
It does not seem a lot to me. So each day, because it's a part of my purpose. So each day, from day to day, I may on one day, all I may do is just write. It's focus and discipline myself. I've got a couple books I've got to release this year that I'm focused on finishing. So some days it's just writing. Some days it's life coaching. I have sessions with leaders, entertainers. I have the Wives Matter Network, which is a part of that life coaching division where we're empowering wives and wives to be doing things for that. And then, of course, ministry is ongoing. So from day to day, it's, can you hop on that Zoom and do a session with a pastor? Or, can you meet with this member or teach a Bible class? That's something that's like a non-negotiable. That's always happening from day to day in some sort of capacity. And then some seasons where I may be focused on, a stage production, which takes time, rehearsals and all of that. So it sounds a lot, but to me, it's not, because I love it all.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
it sounds, I know
Love
it
that.
sounds ludicrous, but because I love it, it don't seem work to me.
Right.
Yes.
I love that, because you're
No.
operating in each of those verticals, but they're in your purpose.
They're
So
in
they're
my
in the
purpose.
wheelhouse. And so it doesn't
Yes.
seem like it's work. I see you
Yes.
gave me an answer to how I've been feeling. I love that. See,
Yes. Yes.
I'm
And
just
it's
saying.
funny when you made the statement as far as that you don't feel burned out because you are operating, in your purpose and you're doing what God has called you to do. So I guess I need to go back. I need to look at a few things that I'm doing, because I do feel burned out at times. Like, okay, forget it. I'm not going to do, any of that. But it's going back to God and asking Him, like, okay, should I even be doing this at all? I want to do it. Should I be doing it? Is this what you have called me to do? So women out there, besties out there, men or women, you have to consult God. And from my side of this, what I'm seeing on the outside looking in, this is the grace of God that is upon Lady Hudson.
Yes.
This is all grace. This is all grace. I do not believe that she can do any of this
No,
without the help of God. And
absolutely
actually
not.
and having a true relationship with him, getting in his face, getting direction. Like, okay, is it writing today? Or is it meetings today?
Absolutely.
Is it counseling today? Like, what do you want me to do on today? Give unto me my daily bread. What do I need to be doing today, Lord? What do I need to be doing today?
And that is so imperative, Lady Karan. As
Mhm.
women, we have to have that me time
Yes.
so that we can hear from God.
Yes.
That time, and sometimes it's hard to squeeze that time in with our schedules, but it's so essential to just have a good 10 to 15 minutes, if you can, 30.
Yes.
But just where we're still in the presence of God and letting Him,
Yes.
number one, replenish us, because we do so much as women.
Yes.
Allowing Him to pour into us, and then allowing Him to speak to us, to give us the directives that we need. A Renaissance woman is also a woman who's in tune with her spirituality. She
That's
is
good.
a woman who has a relationship with God.
Yeah.
Because you cannot do any of what I just mentioned. I'm serious. And I didn't even tell you the greatest job that I have is being married to this man that's a full-time job in
You said
itself.
that's up there.
Full-time job. Trying to keep up with his schedule and what he's called to do, and making sure that I am there for him. That don't even, that pales in comparison. What I do pales in comparison to what he does. But when you have that that time with the Father, to just say, God, okay, what is it? Where, what am I missing? Who do I need to connect to? What do I need to let go in this season?
That's good.
What's on my plate that is not productive? I don't want to be busy. I want to be productive. I want to bear fruit. So Father, show me what's not bearing fruit. And then we as women have to have enough courage to let it go.
That's good.
That
That's
really
good.
is good. I'm just in awe, because you're just dropping all these nuggets. I'm picking up.
Look, and I'm writing them down.
I want the women out there to really
Yes.
hear what she is saying about walking in your purpose and having that self-care with that me time. And, I love that you already know a non-negotiable and the greatest joy is being a wife, and everything else comes after that. And I really, for all the wives out there, that is key. I know I live by that. I know Lady Kay lives by that. Just being, because we made vows before God, we committed before God that we were going to be the best wives. And I think that once we are that, our husbands help undergird us and push us out as well, with no problems doing it. I do have a question about one of the areas that you're in. I noticed that you have two sectors. You have the Wives Matters Network, but you also mentor, and I don't know what it's called, I'm sorry, but I know it's with First Ladies, where you deal with the pastors' wives, and then the wives. There was definitely a niche in the market for that, because there's really you're really probably the second First Lady that I've known that's really taken pastors' wives and really mentored them, and wives. You know, the first person that I've known to do that, my grandmother did that as a first lady. She really, and it was just the First Wives Club is what they called it. And I mean, Ministers' Wives Club, and they met at our home, and I was able to see that. And I laugh sometimes when I see your post. I'm like, I wish my grandmother was alive to see this, because she did it on such a small scale where she baked and cooked for a lot of the first ladies, and they were able to talk. But I see how God has really, you have taken this to the next level. Was this something that, a burden that God had placed on your heart to really be a safe place to be able to teach and guide and empower these women of God, as well as just, that's two sectors, your first ladies and your senior pastors' wives, but then wives, the whole wives matter. What was your motivation to really start both of those entities?
Okay, so I'm going to be very transparent. So about maybe 13, 14 years ago, my husband came to me and said, I am going to start meeting with pastors every month. We're going to spend a couple hours at the church, and I'm going to teach them, I'm going to train them, and all of that. And I said, okay, hey, go ahead, babe. And he's like, and I want you to do the same with the pastors' wives. Now, hold up, wait. No, no, no. And the reason why I said no is because we were newly married. I was still trying to figure out how to be a wife, let alone a pastor's wife. This was year 4 into our marriage. And I honestly was like, no. So I think I told him, no, I mean, if you want to do that, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't, I'm still learning myself.
Yeah.
No. And I said it so many times, like, no, I don't want to do this. And I never forget this. At that time, I was working a full-time job. I was working in corporate America as a paralegal, and my commute was so long. I worked all the way up north, lived in the south suburbs, and I remember I was in traffic and I was driving, and when I thought about his request, I cringed, just like, no. And I just started just like crying, like, God, what did I do? What did I sign up for? And I'll never forget, I heard the voice of God say, trust me. Trust me. And I'm, crying and snotting at the wheel and all of this stuff. And I'll never forget my first meeting with pastors' wives in that particular capacity. We were in a smaller room than away from my husband and his meeting with the pastors. And it was maybe about six wives that came out that night. Everybody's looking around like, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to talk about? And I'm standing there like, okay, all right, so let's try this. End of the night, there was such like major breakthrough. And not necessarily for the wives, but for me. Yeah. And it sparked something in me that I didn't know I had. Now, he probably didn't know it either. He probably just wanted me to do it because he was doing it as well. But it sparked a love to minister to that demographic. Because again, year 4 in, I didn't know of any pastors' wives groups. Yeah. The only person that I would, off and on glean from was from my mom. And so I'd be like, Mama, there was some things you didn't tell me about this position. And she was like, yeah, I didn't want to tell you about that. So you had to learn it on your own. But I realized there was a need for it. And for so many years, we did that faithfully. We met every first Monday, and it was a sacrifice. It was an investment. But what it was doing, it was sharpening something on the inside of me that I never knew I had. Sometimes God will put you in situations to literally pull the best out of you. And we're sometimes kicking and screaming, saying, no, I don't want to do it. And I'm not equipped. And all of this stuff. And God knows what he's placed on the inside of you. So he'll put you in a situation that's very uncomfortable, that's totally out of your what you're used to pull something out of you that you never knew you had. And so from there, after those meetings, God said, do a conference. So I launched my first conference in 2015 for pastors' wives. I did it again in 2016. I did it again in 2017. It just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yes, it did.
And the demand kept growing and growing. And then I
Yes.
was like, wait a minute, what am I doing?
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
then last year, the Holy Spirit launched something for wives, because what was happening is all these years I was only specifically mentoring just pastors' wives, and the women in my congregation was like, what about us?
Right.
We got problems too in our marriages. We need some help too. Are you going to ever do anything just for just us? I ain't a pastor's wife, but I'm a wife and I need some help.
Right.
So that's how the Wives Matter Network came about last year.
Oh
That's
my
good.
God, I love that. And it just speaks to really who you are and how God has called you, because that's bold to like minister to pastors' wives and then wives, because we do need help. Wives need help, but that just speaks to your the grace that's on your life. I have one last question. You know, our podcast is built all around friendships and all relationships. You know, I'm so grateful for my friendship with Kiran, and we sat and talked about just relationships with our husbands, with our other friends. We have other friends, people. They don't think we have other friends. We have other friends. You know, even the relationships that we have with our siblings, with our cousins, with our mothers, just all things relationships. And so, you know, Kiran and I have had this conversation so many times. Lady Hudson, I know what you do is great, but do you have, or not do you have, I shouldn't say it like that. I know you have friends, but when you look at friendship, you have to have a few people in your inner circle that you can lean and depend on.
Yeah.
You know, what do you look for when it comes to qualities of, you know, quality of friendship? And do you have, I'm sure you do. I mean, we went besties, business besties thing, but you know, you have but for other women out there, women in your position, but in general, when it comes to friendships, you know, as a woman in your seat, what qualities do you look for in a friendship? And then do you have, you know, they have that no new friends. Are you open to other friends? I'm just saying this, in your position, it could be difficult. What's your take on friendships when it comes to building new friendships and then cultivating the ones that you have, and how much you feel comfortable sharing about yourself or personal things when it comes to friendship?
Yeah.
I strongly advocate that you must have an inner circle. And so you can't do life alone. You cannot do life solo, especially as a Renaissance woman. Now, here's the thing with us women, we're not the most trusting of each other because of things that we have experienced.
Absolutely.
I was one of those individuals.
Yeah.
And so God had to show me that as I continue to grow you and enlarge you, you got to have safe spaces. And it just can't be me and King Jesus and nobody else. It's got to be, you know, we get real deep with stuff. But even Jesus had an inner circle.
Yes, he did.
He had an inner circle. He had a group of friends that he could go to, have dinner with, have fellowship. It was Lazarus. It was Lazarus and his sisters, Mary and Martha. Those were Jesus' friends.
Yes, they were.
He had an inner circle. He even had an inner circle of 3 from the 12, Peter, James, and John.
Yes.
You need those safe spaces where you are authentically yourself. When I am with my best friend, Shannon, I am Andria. I am not pastor. I am not first lady. I am not a coach. The same with her. She's a serial entrepreneur. She's a pastor's wife. But when we are together, we are Shannon and Andria. We are real with one another. We let it all, air it all out.
Yeah.
And we take turns. Okay, now it's my turn. Let me tell you what's been going on, girl.
Yeah.
And we air it out. My
Yes.
time with her is it's so important to me. I love my husband. He is my husband. He is one of my best friends, but he's not my girlfriend.
Right.
He knows that when I get with my girlfriends, I'm gonna be gone for a while. We got a lot to catch up on. And all of that. And I feel refreshed when I leave her presence.
Yeah.
I feel revived. I don't feel depleted. And there are times when she pours into me and I pour into her.
Mhm.
I have sisters. I have 3 biological sisters, and we've always been close. We have our own group thread that starts from the top of the morning to the end of the night, and we are talking about everything. And and that gives me energy. That motivates me. That keeps me real. It's not Pastor Andrea when I'm with them. It's my nicknames. It's all of that. My time with my parents is a safe space.
That's good.
I make sure I spend time with my mom and dad.
Yes.
When I go over their house, I am their daughter. I let my mama spoil me. I let her cook for me. I let her do whatever she wants to, give me snacks, whatever. I am the daughter. And we catch up, we talk, me, my mom and dad, the 3 of us. It's so important to have those safe spaces, especially as a Renaissance woman. You need spaces where you are yourself, not your title, not your position, not the CEO, where you are authentically you, because it pours back into what you constantly give out to everyone else.
Yes. That, Jesus.
I know.
That was a sermon right there. No, that is good, Lady Hudson. That is good. Besties. Oh my God. She has been dropping the gems all night long. Could be day for some of you all, depending on how you watch it.
Exactly. Someone that's listening in China. Could be evening, could be day. So
Exactly. But I love that where you say you have to have those safe spaces. So, woman of God, if you do not have a safe space, pray. Ask God. Be open. That's the first thing. You got to be open. You got to be open. Because who you may think you want to connect with, God is like, it's actually her over there. So just be open when God does show you, like, yes, you need to connect to her. You need to connect with her and connect with her. Be open to that. I just want to do just a little recap, because when I tell you I was writing this down, and y'all should write this down. She told us that we have to be willing to embrace all of our creativity. Okay. She said it's essential to have a mentor. It's life or death. You need to have a mentor in your life. You cannot neglect your non-negotiables. If you a mama, you can't go turn your kids back in. You are a mama. Okay. If you are a wife, you are a wife. The burnout is caused when you are not operating in your purpose. So if you're feeling burned out, depleted, I can't do it, I can't juggle it, I can't balance it, whatever your definition is, then you need to go back to the Father and ask him, is that what you are supposed to be doing? And then you must be intentional to master something in life. You cannot be a jack of all trades. Oh, I can do this, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But what are you good at? What are you anointed to do? What have you mastered? It's good you can do it all, but what have you mastered? And then you got to have the courage to let it go. That if you're doing it and God says not now or not so, you have to have the courage to let it go. Y'all better be writing it down. If you didn't write it down before, I hope you just wrote it down right now, or you're going to catch this replay and you're going to write it down again. Please,
watch it again.
Please take it, and then don't just write it down and apply it to your life. Thank you, Pastor Lady Andria Hudson. And look, and I just want to talk about your name, Andria Hudson. Every time I hear somebody say Andrea, I'm like, it's Andrea. It's like when they say Quran, it is Karen. You know, your Karen's like.
Thank you, my lady. You know, and for so many years, it just don't even faze me anymore. I've been called a lot of stuff, and so I just be like, okay, yeah. But thank you. It has been a pleasure to be with you guys. I love what you're doing. You both are bosses, but one of the things that I love about the both of you, you're so humble, you're so sweet, you're so gracious. So thanks for this. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. So besties out there, please make sure that you share this podcast with someone that actually needs it outside of you. Share with someone else. And then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to all of the platforms, because when I tell you we are on all of them, we are on all of them. We love you all, and we thank you all so much for supporting us. Have a blessed, blessed day. Bye, besties.
Bye. Thanks for joining us today. See you next time.